Breaking news out of Indiana: the Fever just made a move that could flip the entire WNBA upside down. But here's the wild part. The headlines aren't about the player they cut. They're about the superstar who might be stepping back onto the floor way sooner than anyone expected. Caitlin Clark's name is once again at the center of chaos, and fans are asking one question: is this the signal her comeback is finally here? Before we dive deep into the story, I want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlin Clark should return right now, even if she's not fully healthy, or should the Fever play it safe and wait? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single update. Because if Caitlin Clark really is coming back, this isn't just another roster move. It's a league-shaking moment. The Indiana Fever just dropped a bombshell that has everyone talking. On paper, it looks like nothing, a simple transaction, the release of guard Kira Lambert. To most casual fans, that's the kind of headline you skip right past in the sports section. But for die-hard Fever fans, and honestly, for anyone following the WNBA, this wasn't just a small shuffle. This felt like the spark that could light the fuse for something much bigger. Here's why. Teams don't cut players mid-season for no reason. You don't suddenly move someone off the roster unless you're preparing for a shakeup. And that timing? It's way too perfect. Caitlin Clark has been sidelined for weeks, and now, right before one of the toughest stretches of Indiana's season, Lambert is gone. Almost instantly, fans connected the dots. The roster spot isn't about Lambert at all. It's about Clark. To make it even messier, the Fever didn't even thank Lambert publicly. No farewell post, no good luck message, nothing. She played barely a minute across 2 games, and then she was gone like she was never even there. And that silence only poured gasoline on the fire. Fans on social media erupted saying, "This isn't about Kira. This is about making room for Caitlin." So now the Fever are under a spotlight. Because if this move really is about Clark's return, it's not just a roster adjustment. It's the kind of decision that could decide Indiana's entire season. Every arrow, every sign, every piece of timing points to one conclusion. This move was made for Caitlin Clark. Let's break it down. Clark hasn't stepped on the court since July 16th, when a groin injury sidelined her in a matchup against the Connecticut Sun. Since then, the Fever have been holding their breath, waiting for any sign of her return. Every game she's missed has felt heavier, every loss sharper, every rumor louder. And now, suddenly, a roster spot opens? That's not coincidence. That's strategy. Think about it. Kira Lambert wasn't a rotation player. She wasn't even a bench piece. She logged a single minute in 2 games, barely more than a practice body. Indiana could have cut her weeks ago, but they didn't. They waited until now, right before the toughest stretch of their season, to make this move. That timing is everything. And fans aren't stupid. They're connecting the dots faster than the Fever can even try to hide them. Social media is lighting up with theories, some realistic, some completely wild. A few fans are convinced Indiana is secretly covering up Sophie Cunningham's health issues. Others are throwing Kennedy Carter's name into the mix, even though she literally just signed elsewhere. But when you strip away the noise, it always comes back to one name: Caitlin Clark. The Fever need her. The league needs her. And this roster move feels like the front office sliding the final piece into place, ready to unleash their star. Here's where things get tricky. If this really is about Caitlin Clark's return, the Fever are walking a razor's edge, because the schedule waiting for them is absolutely brutal. Minnesota, twice, then Seattle, then the Sparks, the Valkyries, Phoenix, Chicago, Washington. It's a gauntlet that could shred even the healthiest roster. And Indiana knows it. Throwing Clark straight back into action against the Lynx, the top team in the league, isn't just bold. It's reckless. That's baptism by fire. That's tossing her into the lion's den and praying she comes out dropping 25 points with highlight reel passes. And here's the scary part. Clark isn't just recovering from an injury. She's carrying the weight of expectation, the media circus, and the nonstop pressure of being the WNBA's biggest draw. Bringing her back too soon risks more than just a tough loss. It risks her health, her confidence, and the entire momentum of the season. But desperation makes teams gamble. And right now, Indiana looks desperate. They've clawed their way back into 6th place without Clark, which is impressive. But staying there without her is nearly impossible. They know the truth. If she doesn't come back, their playoff hopes are toast. And so, The Fever are staring down the question every fan is asking. Is it worth the risk? Because if they rush her and she isn't ready, the fallout could be catastrophic. Let's be real. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player anymore. She's the face of an entire league. Every move she makes, every game she plays, or doesn't play, becomes a headline. When she sits out, the questions pile up. When she returns, it's a national story. And when she takes a hard foul, suddenly it feels like Congress is about to hold a hearing. That's the kind of spotlight she carries. And here's why that matters. The WNBA needs Clark more than ever. Ticket sales? She drives them. TV ratings? They spike the moment she's on the floor. Merchandise? Her jersey sales are through the roof. The league knows it, the Fever know it, and fans absolutely know it. Which is why this one roster move, cutting a player who barely touched the floor, instantly turned into breaking news. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about business. It's about keeping the WNBA relevant in a crowded sports landscape, and Clark is the one player who can do that every single night. That's why the Fever might be willing to gamble with her return, because it's not only about wins and losses anymore, it's about keeping the league's brightest star shining. But here's the thing. When a team mixes desperation with business pressure, the decisions get dangerous. And right now, Indiana's walking straight into that storm. If you strip away all the noise, this move comes down to one word: desperation. The Indiana Fever know they're running out of time. They've managed to claw their way back into 6th place in the standings, but that position is fragile, hanging by a thread. Without Caitlin Clark, they're surviving, not thriving. And survival doesn't cut it in a league this competitive. Cutting Kira Lambert wasn't about her performance. It was about clearing the runway. Clark's return is the only thing that can turn Indiana from a fringe playoff team into a legitimate contender. And the front office knows it. This isn't about giving fans hope for the future. This is about saving the season right now. But here's the dangerous part. Desperation makes teams reckless. We've seen Indiana stumble before with questionable rotations, confusing coaching decisions, and a front office that sometimes feels like it's playing two different games. Amber Cox looks at the future. Stephanie White is fighting for the present. And somewhere in the middle sits Caitlin Clark, the one player expected to fix it all. By cutting Lambert now, the Fever are sending a clear message. They're ready to roll the dice, ready to push Clark back into action, whether the timing is perfect or not. Because in their minds, waiting isn't an option anymore. The only question is, will this gamble pay off, or will it backfire in a way the Fever can't afford? If the Fever wanted to calm the storm, they could have done it already. A simple update on Clark's health, a clear statement about her timetable, that would have shut down half the rumors overnight. But instead, silence. And in the WNBA, silence speaks louder than words. Beat reporter Scott Agnes tried to give fans a dose of reality. In his YouTube comments, he told people to have patience, hinting that Clark might still be several weeks away. He even doubled down, basically saying, "Trust me, it's not happening yet." But fans don't want to hear patience. They want answers. And when the team stays quiet, the speculation only grows louder. Every day, Fever fans are refreshing Twitter, checking the WNBA transactions page, dissecting every cryptic social media post from players. They're looking for any clue, any breadcrumb that could confirm Clark's return. But the players? Silent. The coaches? Silent. The front office? Silent. And that silence is driving people crazy. Because in this league, silence usually means one of two things. Either they're hiding bad news, or they're about to drop a bombshell. And if it's the latter, you can bet Indiana is going to milk the moment for every ounce of attention it's worth. Caitlin Clark's return isn't just about the Indiana Fever. It's about the entire WNBA. The moment she steps back on the court, everything changes. Think about what her presence does to a game. Defenses collapse the second she crosses half court. Double teams come flying her way, which means spacing opens up for everyone else. Suddenly, role players like Lexi Hall or Sydney Colson look like stars because Clark's gravity creates opportunities they wouldn't get otherwise. Aaliyah Boston becomes even more dominant inside. Kelsey Mitchell finds easier shots, and Sophie Cunningham, if healthy, becomes a deadlier threat on the wing. One player completely shifts the balance of the floor, and it's not just on the court. Clark's return forces every other team in the league to adjust. Opposing coaches have to rework game plans. Opposing players have to brace for the media storm that follows her. Even the league's schedule makers and broadcasters are circling dates, knowing every Clark game becomes must-watch TV. That's the bigger picture. This isn't a Fever storyline. It's a WNBA storyline. And when Clark comes back, it's not just Indiana fans who feel it. It's every team, every coach, every player in the league. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That level of influence might not be as good for the WNBA as it looks on the surface. Here's the truth nobody in the league office wants to admit. The WNBA has become dangerously dependent on Caitlin Clark. Without her, the Fever are just another mid-tier team fighting for 6th place. Without her, ratings dip, ticket sales stall, and casual fans tune out. But with her, ESPN sends extra camera crews. Highlight reels go viral. Merchandise flies off the shelves. That kind of power is incredible and risky. No league should lean this hard on one player. It creates a fragile ecosystem where every injury, every absence, every bad night becomes a crisis. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. Clark's injury turned into weeks of speculation, fan anxiety, and media panic, because the league doesn't have anyone else who can fill that void. So while Indiana celebrates making tough roster decisions, let's call it what it is: a desperate play to bring their star back. And when she does return, the spotlight won't just be on Clark or the Fever. The entire WNBA will feel it, because she isn't just a player anymore. She's the axis the league spins on, and that's both the biggest blessing and the biggest danger. So here's the question. Is Caitlin Clark's return a miracle that saves the Fever's season, or a reckless gamble that could backfire in the worst way? One thing's for sure. When she comes back, the entire league changes overnight. But now I want to hear from you. Should Clark return immediately, even if she's not 100%, or should the Fever hold her out until she's truly ready? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm diving in to read them all. And if you want to stay ahead of the breaking news, make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because when Caitlin Clark's return becomes official, you won't want to miss what happens next.